Hello YouTube family. So on this walk we're going to take a look at ToysEasy's Titan, their version of Megatron if he were a World War II tank. I took a moment and looked up online. This is from their Metal Souls series. It seems to be a line that they're creating Transformers of vehicles from the World War II war, which does seem pretty cool. Okay, a little bit about myself. My name is Dadbot Walker. I'm a father, a husband, a collector, just trying to find balance of it all in this crazy world. My goal in these videos is to share my thoughts, experience. Hopefully you find something helpful and you'll be back to watch another review. Okay, so this guy came in from Tim over at Transformers Underground Shop. Highly recommend checking him out. I placed an order with him for some other Transformers, and he put this in the box for me to take a look at, and I'm really thankful for it. If you're in the look for or the hunt for some Transformers or collectibles, highly recommend checking him out. Mention my name, Dadbot Walker. I don't think you're not going to get a discount, but just to give him a hard time, harass him. I've met him at a couple conventions. Great guy, does a lot for the community, and is awesome to hang out with. Okay, enough of that. Now on to the figure. Out of the box, he does have a cool presence to him. You're going to notice a couple things. Well, first, you know what? Let's start with this, because I know you're probably wondering, that doesn't quite look like Megatron, okay? He does have a cool look to him with the head, but no worries. They give you this Megatron head, okay? So they've got you covered. It does look pretty cool, almost like a younger style Megatron. So what I'm gonna do for the rest of the review, I'm gonna put this on so that way he does have that Megatron look. But this head sculpt, it does have those sharp red eyes, almost like that skull look. This is pretty cool too. A little note, when you take off the helmet, hold down on the collar, and then I'm gonna try, there we go, okay. So you can take off his helmet, which would be pretty cool just to have him holding it. And then that head will pop right off. Again, hold it down. Give it a little bit of force. And it's just on a ball peg. Let's put on the Megatron helmet. There we go, okay? Now he looks like a better Megatron. Now, this helmet does come off. I was able to get it off once. And if you take it off, he does have that bald Megatron look. So if you're into displaying your Megatrons without a helmet and seeing that bald head, this helmet does come off. It takes a little bit of force. I just think that when I put it back on, I jammed it on, and I don't want to force it off too much. Okay, out of the box, his cannon does come separate. All you have to do is take off the hand, pop it off, pop this back, and this piece wraps around here. Just when you put it on, I would wiggle it on, don't force it on. And then right back here, there's a little notch. It just plugs in right there, okay? And it does have a cool looking cannon. The hydraulics here do articulate, and we'll see some of that in the alt mode, okay? Also, this is a bit frustrating. This little piece right here is like a side gun. You'll notice that when we put him in tank mode, you'll see that. I'm gonna take it off, so if you leave it on and you don't mess with it, it's gonna be fine. What's gonna end up happening is, I'm gonna try to hold it on. There we go, gotta be careful it doesn't fall out. So right here, it doesn't stay in too well. There's a little, it goes in right there. For the sake of the review, I'm actually gonna pop it out. It comes in a bag separate, which I was thankful for. Put that back down, okay? Because it'll pop off as I start articulating it. So I'm gonna put that to the side so we don't lose it. Once you put it in there, it'll stay put. It's just when I show off articulation, it's gonna pop off. Okay. So taking a look at him, he does look pretty cool. He does have that evergreen look to him as far as Megatron. There are some features of Megatron that stand out, like the red on the arms, that helmet, that face. And again, he does have a young Megatron look. As far as the sculpt, it does look pretty cool. Turning him around. Got some lettering there. I imagine this would work in a flight stand. The treads there. Oh, sculpting there. See that some more of that in tank mode. And then down here on the waist, it does say Titan right there on the hip skirt. The legs do look really, really cool. You see some more treads. The issue I have, just looking at them right out of the box, is up top he looks good. Then you've got these little feet down here, you know, which do give us some balancing issues, which we'll talk about at the end of the video with the good and the bad. So it does look pretty cool. Okay. Now for articulation, the head. Okay. It's on a ball joint, so you do get around. No issues with that. As far as looking down, you get a down. Here we go. So you got to hold that collar. You get a little bit down. You can get more from moving the collar back. Not too much up. Okay. So that's unfortunate. You can't fake it and break the sculpt using the transformation. As far as the arms, you get your up. And these are on tension. So there's no ratchets. Let's see here. You don't get a butterfly. You can go all the way around with the arm. Oops. Just make sure this doesn't get it in the way. Okay, you can get all the way around. As far as the arm, you get an elbow bend. You do have to break some of the robot mode. So if you want to get it up higher, just bring this piece up. That's why I said I took that piece out. You can get it, bend it here. Now, because of the transformation, you can get a little bit more. So this piece right here, you can rock forward, rock down. So you can get more of an elbow bend if you wanted to. I'll make you raise it even more. Okay, so let me rock that back in so you get more there. You do get a bicep swivel. Okay, as far as the hands, he's got those scourge hands, if you know what I mean, where they're that menacing, sharp dagger kind of look to them. They're just missing those pink fingernails. Thumb is on a ball joint. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, you know what? You do get a knuckle bend on the thumb. You do get a knuckle bend on the hands. They're individually articulated. I imagine what's happening now, it's the first, you know, it's the new bot. So it's a little stiff. Over time, it might be a little easier. They're individually articulated. Yeah. There we go. Okay. So overall, again, to me, they remind me of Scourge's hands. Okay. Over here, there's really not, you're not limited on this arm because of the cannon. So you get the same articulation on the other side. Okay. As far as the waist, of course, you get your waist swivel. You also get a ab crunch, which is nice. Okay. Nothing back, but that's not necessary. As far as the legs, let's move these hip skirts up and the ones in the back up. You can get out, down, forward. A little tight there. You get your back just a little tight. I imagine over time, again, it'll loosen up, okay? Drop those back down. Okay. As far as the knee, okay, pretty cool. You do have this knee pad cover. Just got to make sure when you bring it back that stays up, okay? Yeah, looks pretty cool. This piece tends to come out when you're articulating the leg. Just make sure you get it back in there. You're good. Okay, now the least, this part I don't like. So again, the feet, you get your outward motion for the leg, nothing in. We get a little bit in. The toes, they're not the sturdiest. Okay. I just wish, and again, that'll probably be something, that will be something I talk about, the good and the bad. Okay. So as far as accessories, you get the cannon, which I don't know if you can count the cannon as an accessory. I feel that's a must if you want a Megatron. I'm trying to balance them on those little feet. Okay. Push them back a little bit. There we go. Okay. And again, least favorite part right now, those little feet. Okay. There we go. Okay. Now, as far as accessories, you get this extra cannon. This is cool because we know Megatron has this on his back. This piece right here will fit in the back right here, this little notch. So it'll fit right in there. Let's try to get in there. Make sure I don't have it upside down. So he gets a little cannon there, which is cool. And he does come with some pretty cool blast effects for that cannon. I'll show that off in a second. So you get this one major blast effects as if it's shooting, then this will go inside of it, and then you actually get the missile. And you just want to be careful not to lose these pieces. They're pretty cool. So start off by putting this on, and we'll see this again in tank mode. Put this inside there, and then this piece will fit right over that, like that. Oops. And it fell somewhere. Let me pause the video just for a second. I want to find that piece and show you what it looks like. All right, so we're back. This little piece you just got to be careful on, okay? Again, it's a small little missile, like almost like a bullet. And that goes right here to finish that look off. Okay. You know what? Speaking of experiences, I have big hands. So I think that if I can articulate it and move it around, I think that's a testament to the figure, okay? All right, so that's what it looks like with that blast effect. It does look pretty cool, and I'm looking forward to seeing it in the alt mode, how that's gonna look, okay? All right, so here we go. So again, he does have a cool look to him. Take this off. Actually, let me pop it off this way. Put that to the side. If I were to display him, I'd probably display him without that cannon right now. And again, put that little piece back on. So we're gonna get him transformed into his alt mode and take a look at him. And again, I'm just looking at him. He does have some really cool features to him. And again, it does have that Megatron evergreen kind of look to him, where you can definitely recognize it as Megatron. Even the side legs, they don't have that, the gun look to them, but they definitely have that black side that Megatron's used to with the red and the accents. All right, let's get him transformed in the alt mode and take it from there. And there it is, all transformed into tank mode. The transformation wasn't too complex. There's a lot of tabs and they are intuitive. Everything does tab into place. Oh, this little gun here, it's a ball peg. I was able to force it in the middle of the transformation system. You know, let me give it a try, and it does snap in. You have to add some force to it. As far as this piece, let me take it off just for a second. That piece does go on, the front chest there. And let's put this back on. So let's look at the tank, and I want to show you something, okay? So I'm just going to do a quick rotating around, let you look at it. Okay, look at the top. It does look, you know, has a lot of detail to it, okay? You even have this little piece right here you can rotate around. This piece can open. I'm gonna get a little screw in there, okay? So if you want to give it a cool little look, the turret does rotate. No problems there, okay? This goes up and down. We'll put the big gun on in a second. But again, a lot of details. The tracks look pretty cool. The only issue I had with tabbing in, let me see if I can show you right here. There's a little part right here. I couldn't get it to tab in perfectly, but other than that, everything tabbed in and it worked just fine. Okay, so this is a real tank. After I transformed it, I looked it up, and I was curious because it has SO4. This is a German Tiger SO4 tank that was actually used in the war. So if you are into tanks, you might find this interesting. I started looking at the history of it, and I stopped because I said, you know what? Let's just focus on the transformer, the transformer part of it. But if you are into authentic looking World War II vehicles, I think you'll be impressed with this. I think you'll be happy with it, okay? Before I put the big gun on, let me show you the blast effects. I will put the big gun on, but I want to show you the blast effects. So you've got this piece here. So you got the little missile. Let's put this on this little gun right here. Okay. Looks pretty cool. Put this on here. And then put this right in here. There you go. So that does look pretty cool. for a display piece, and if you are collecting this line, I can see why people may get excited about it. Which, again, that does look pretty cool. I have my Studio Series Megatron at work. He's one of my desk spots, so I can't do a comparison with him, okay? But I will do a couple comparisons. Let me take this off in a second. Take this off. Let's put the big gun on, little gun, okay? Okay. Now, for the big gun, you can put the big gun on, okay? In arm mode, this piece, just fold it back, okay? The reason you have 3 rings, this ring will be used for alt mode. These 2 are depending on what arm you're gonna put them on. So if he's on the left arm, I believe use this hole. Right arm, you're gonna use the other hole, okay? So let's take this off for a second. Bring this here, use the center hole, wiggle it on, get it on, okay? Put this piece back on. There we go, okay? So, there you go. You got a gun, you got a tank. Let me rotate this around and see if it looks better. Yeah, you're gonna have a little gap there because that black piece isn't fitting on perfectly. Yeah, there's no notch for it. I was seeing if they notched it out to go over it, but they don't. So you're gonna have a little bit of gap there, which isn't too bad. Okay. Now, I mentioned earlier that the hydraulics can be used. Sorry, this piece right here, I'm gonna rotate this around to the side so it's out of the way. Let me rotate it around so it's out of the way. There we go. So that way it can fit flush. I'll bring this back. There we go. Okay. And yeah. Okay. Now this can go up, and you can use the hydraulics. You see some of the, there we go. Some of the hydraulics. Okay. Which does look pretty cool. To get it back there. It would be nice if they had like a little trailer for it, an attachment for it, but that's what you get. Okay, this little piece can still articulate up. Just get it, try to get it to look okay. Let's put the blast effects back on it. Oh, no wheels. So it looks on the back side. No wheels. Okay. And again, the blast effects are for this gun here. Put that back in there. Oops. Try it again. Jam it in there. There we go. Okay. Now, you do have the option for this little piece. If you want the little piece on here to look like the missile, you can do it like that. Just gotta jam it on there. Okay. Which does look pretty cool. Or take it off. Put it back here. Okay. Now, as far as comparison, I do have some tanks, but I only have one in alt mode right now. Okay. There you got the Star Toys Blitzwing in tank mode. So as far as how he looks, he will pair with the Studio Series Megatron. He's about the size of Warpath, so a mini bot. So can he work in a Masterpiece line? I would say he can, but more with the mini bots. And we'll put him back in robot mode to do a quick comparison. So that's how he looks with the Star Toys Blitzwing. So he's about, I want to say, let's line it up a little better. Maybe about 2/3 the length. Maybe even 3/4 the length. Okay. So there he is. Okay. I was surprised that he actually is a German tank. So if you're into authentic looking vehicles, this might be for you. Let's put him back in robot mode, and share my final thoughts. Am I good or am I bad? All right, almost at the end. before I get into the good and the bad or the recommendation part of this review, I want to do some quick comparisons. So there he is with MP Megatron, and I have the Infinite Transformation with the upgraded backpack. So he stands at about a little bit under 8 inches. So can he fit in with an MP line? It's questionable. Okay, there he is with the MP Megatron. However, let's take him out and let's put in Warpath, another tank. Okay, so here he is with Warpath. So he fits in fine with the Minibot and another tank. So as far as the Minibots, I think he'll look just fine. And if you want to, you can put on the alternate head and display him as another figure. Now, as far as the Chug line, the Studio Series line, there he is with Optimus Prime. And I apologize. My Megatron, the Studio Series Megatron is at work. He's a despot. He's on display with another Optimus Prime. So something about having Transformers at work just makes life a little bit more enjoyable. Okay, so the reason I wanted to show the comparisons, okay, is, well, here, let's first talk about the good and the bad. The bad. Those feet are horrible. I definitely feel that's the worst part of the figure right now, is you constantly have to, little dust there, you have to balance them just right because of those feet. And I think the feet are the way they are because of transformation. The transformation is intuitive, and I'll get to that in a second, but the way the feet have to fold into the side of the tank mode, so that way the tracks fit in, so these toes have to point up in transformation. So because they have to point up, they give a little. However, with a little bit of key, floor polish, you can get them to stay right in place. The hands, I don't mind the hands. Think about that Scores looking hand. And again, they look the way they look because of transformation, because you have to literally lay the hands flat to get them to fold into the body, which is so different than what you're used to. Let me show you what I mean. You have to fold them flat like that, okay? Which is so different because normally you're used to making a fist and then that folds into something, okay? So you gotta lay the hands flat. So the feet are an issue. I don't like how it has that bulky look up here, and then you get to the skinny part. So the aesthetics behind the shins and the feet, they throw me for a loop. So that's the bad. As far as the good, it has some nice sculpting. There's some unique things happening here. And the fact that they gave you a Megatron head, which is pretty cool. He does have also an IDW look. So the sculpting is unique, and it's pretty cool how everything fits together, okay? And then as far as the transformation, again, I think the transformation hurts itself as far as the feet, but the transformation is intuitive. If you're wondering where something goes, you just look for a tab. If you're like, does this fit in here? Does this go into here? You just find a tab, and yeah, it fits in, that's where it goes, okay? So the transformation, is nice. The fact that they gave you the helmet, I don't know if I mentioned that, that's a nice thing. So now on to the recommendation, okay? Do I recommend this figure? This is a real tank. I looked it up. So this was an actual tank that they modeled him after. So do I recommend this? I definitely think there's a niche, a niche for this, if you would say. I think some people would find this interesting. And I think that those that will find it interesting are going to be into, Takara Tomy has a new line coming out. I'll try to put in this image up here called, I think it's called Overgear. So this may work perfectly with that line. In addition to that, if you're collecting, if you're into authentic looking vehicles, then this line from this company might be something to look into. So is it a recommendation? I would say if that's what you're into. I'm not into it. It's not my thing. I do like that G1 toy aesthetic. I do have some Transformers that have that that real world look, but I'm not into the World War II look, the aesthetic behind it. So, hope you enjoyed the review. A big shout out again to Tim over at Transformers Underground for letting me take a look at this. And until next time, enjoy the walk.